Welcome to today's episode of Talking It Up. We have with us Professor Mousumi Ghosh. Professor Mousumi Ghosh is an ex-professor of Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. Right now, she is a well-respected edu entrepreneur. But more than that, she is more respected as a mentor, and everybody runs to her with all sorts of problems, and she comes out with nice advices. Mousumi, you will be talking to us about what should be a parent's role. As a mentor and with such a huge experience as parent yourself, you know that today one of the more serious issues is parental expectation. That expectation tends to bear down on the kids, tends to restrict them, and it's creating all sorts of problems. What is your view?
I'm also a mother to two grown-up daughters. So I think the challenge lies there also. I would say early learning is very, very important, and it kind of flows through your life, the initial years, and we need to invest in that. Let me take up the role of parent first, and the parenting is also mentoring your children. Why would they find me interesting? This question I keep on asking myself, be it my daughters, be it the many children of future, be it the team, be it anywhere, that why would people find me interesting? Unless they find me interesting, we can never engage. In fact, how do I engage with my children, with my students? I'll have to find out the soft spot. What would excite them? How would they look forward? For instance, absolute early childhood, storytelling, and storytelling continues through life. So I would say that early engagement and storytelling as a tool has helped me to sail through turbulent times also, Suparna.
Mousumi, that was a very interesting point that you came out with. That was about investment in kids. Can you please clarify what is it that you are meaning by invest in kids?
I mean two things. One, time, and one, I would say common sense with a lot of sensitivity. As a mother, how do I address and how do I engage my children? As a teacher of, let's say, early school kids, how do I engage them? Later on, as they grow up, how do I engage them? I think the world around for teachers, as well as parents, I think the challenge is, how do you engage? Why would they come to me? Why would they go to you and talk?
How would you engage?
Again, what is their soft spot? For instance, my child, in fact, I feel, we should play safe. We should play many cards. For instance, it could be music, it could be sports, it could be arts, it could be cinema, it could be theatre, it could be small things. For example, let's take a case, the case of a mobile phone. Okay, that's a very sensitive point. Schools will not allow mobile, parents will tell children not to sit on their laptops and mobiles, but we all know that that's a part of life. Let's say I have a teenage student or a child, doesn't matter. Do I ever tell him that once we give our location, how does it kind of percolates down the social media and the big ones? I'm not telling you not to tell your child not to give his location, but can we not invest in ourselves? Try to find out what is the meaning of given my location, and then as a discussion, why not discuss it with your child?
Mousumi, that is a very interesting point again, but when it comes to engagement, there are two aspects to it. Most of the parents prefer to be corporal, draw boundaries between what they ought to do and what they ought not to do. And the other part is the engagement in the sense of providing them with more freely understandable situation. How do you balance between the two?
I don't think corporal works. In the very short run, in a very short environment, it might, but it has its own nuances. I don't believe in corporal. Honestly speaking, I believe in a free-flowing engagement and environment. I mean, you've seen me for many years. Corporal reduces the happiness quotient of a child, of a person. So I won't get into corporal. But at the same time, particularly today's kids are responsible kids. Let us, as facilitators, it is our duty to tell them the pros and cons. To tell them the pros and cons, we need to be agile and update ourselves. When we were young, we didn't have these kind of issues. But then we don't know that our kids and our students do have these issues. So should we not ourselves be mobile and try to find out? I'm not a techie at all, but even at this age and without being a techie, I try to find out that what if the child carries a mobile, gets into trouble, what do I tell him beforehand as a teacher, as a mentor, as a parent?
Mousumi, in mentoring in a school, there are a few problems. Students come from various backgrounds with various kinds of issues. How would you find a common resolution in terms of mentoring kids?
First and foremost, Suparna, a child, particularly a school children, when we talk about schools, and you know our school is not a very large school. First and foremost, teachers have to know the students very well, and students should be happy and look forward to going to school. I remember even on rainy days, I fought with my parents that I'll have to go to school. And somehow my mother said, okay, fine, you go to school. And I kind of, there was a truck driver, only there was one truck on the road. And I drove that, that truck driver took me, thankfully, I mean, it was all right, but I couldn't go to school. But that was my wish and eagerness to reach school.
Mousumi, you really raised an interesting issue. Students come from, as I said, we had started our discussion with students coming from various backgrounds, but they also come from various types of parental backgrounds. A parental discord is a very common theme these days, and in most of the occasions kids find it extremely difficult to adjust to the discord and come to the school with that kind of a hangover. How would you describe the mentoring role of a school in a situation of this nature?
So I think when they come to school, they kind of leave their home behind. So I won't get into, maybe at some other talk we'll get into this, but once the child reaches school, it's a world which should excite him or her, and teachers, they have to trust the teacher. Why would I talk about my whatever is at the back of my head, what is troubling me? Why should I talk to you? Only when I know that you understand my language. You are not judgmental, okay? I can confide in you. I think the fiduciary relationship which we kind of hardly speak about nowadays between a teacher and a student, that's the mentor. So first and foremost, if we try not to be judgmental, somehow with age it comes, if we are not judgmental and try to sit on the other side of the table where the child is sitting and try to place ourselves, I think half the thing is done. And that the child is communicating, I think more than half the battle is won.
Thank you, Mousumi. It was really a pleasure talking to you, and I hope the viewers also find it extremely enlightening for them, because the way you have shared your opinion about parenting, you are a mother, and you have gone through the tribulations that all parents go usually, and at the same time your mentoring role. When it comes to the role of a school, you are one of the greater authorities, having been a teacher and a respected mentor.
Thank you, Suparna.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on a regular basis. Watch us and see what different experts are talking about our daily life. Thank you.